and then you get to play.
Well, I can't say that day. It was exciting. It was exciting for multiple people. That day it was actually my mom's birthday. That game. So getting on the first game, getting to get in on my mom's birthday, it meant a lot. Actually getting to feel what it feels like to step on the field for the first time and carry the ball in your hands. Rush for a couple yards. Something like you wouldn't think of, like you'll be there. Like it happened so quick. It comes, but it's amazing though, like for that experience, and I'm only working to get on the field more because like that feeling is amazing.
I'll have more in a moment.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows that's how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven, and everybody knows. That's how I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Join us tonight for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show starting at 6 p.m. Central at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Hey Coach is available to listen to across our radio network, the Varsity Network app, as well as a video stream on RolledTide.com and the Alabama Athletics social platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Just like that, we're off and running. We are brand new. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome in on a Wednesday morning. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Wednesday, 256-576-4977. It's the number to the phone lines. You can wake up with us today. A little college football, Major League Baseball talk. We're going to blend it all together in the next 120 minutes. Again, 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program over the next 2 hours. And it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. That means one thing and one thing only. It is time for our seventh grader prognosticator, the one, the only, Grady the Greek, kind enough to join us like he does each and every Wednesday. Good morning, Grady.
Morning.
All right, so first of all, let's get your thoughts on Alabama, Georgia.
I mean, last week was amazing. Ryan Williams played amazing. Jalen played amazing. The defense came up big when we needed them to.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Milroe was your MVP for the game last week, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. He's looking good out there. You got that one right. All right. So this week it is a road game for the Crimson Tide. They're going to travel to the Music City, and they want to leave Nashville singing that good old country song. What's your feelings with Alabama and Vanderbilt this week?
48 Bama and 10 Vanderbilt.
48-10. So you and Drew similar there in your picks. Who are you going to go with for MVP this week?
Jam Miller.
So you think this one will be more on the ground this week? You think they're going to run the ball a little bit more?
Yeah.
You care to take a guess on how many yards he has on the day?
I don't know.
You don't know? But how'd football go this week?
Well, we didn't play this week, so yeah.
You're on fall break, aren't you?
No, that's in like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you got 2 weeks. All right.
Different school system.
It is. The Hartselle school system a little bit different. All right, but who are you going to give your shout out to this week?
Shout out to Coco.
Oh, your sister.
And Grady, I wanted to ask you, what impressed you the most about Alabama's win? Did you get a chance to go to the game?
No, sir, I didn't.
So you watched it on TV, but what was the thing that stood out to you the most?
Jalen Milroe throwing it.
And what did you think about Ryan Williams?
Oh, he was amazing.
And I know they had rat traps at the at press day for the coaches on Monday. Do you expect Alabama to cover in the game overall, or what is your biggest worry going into?
No worry.
Bud. Well, enjoy the day at school. Have a good one, and enjoy another Saturday of football.
No prediction on Georgia Auburn?
No.
All right, Grady. Good, bud.
Thank you, Grady. Appreciate you, man.
So Grady going 48-10 this week. Alabama over Georgia, but he's going or Vanderbilt, and he's going with Jam Miller as his MVP.
Well, he's going with
ground game work.
Yeah, they probably need to, as far as certain facets of the ground game, they need to clean some things up. But I wondered if he was had any kind of worry about overlooking Vanderbilt or coming out flat. So 48-10. I mean, that would definitely have Alabama covered in the game. I believe I saw yesterday they're still a solid 24-point favorite. So good job out of Grady.
It's down to 23.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's come down one point, like 1 point.
I guess
really
there are some people thinking that there might be a little bit of a hangover for Alabama with it coming down 1 point, but Grady certainly is he succinctly stated he's not worried about that.
No, because he still thinks they'll cover even at 48-10. Now the over/under for that game is 55.5.
And we know this year, I think Grady's he's only had, I think, one weekend where he may have picked 2 games. I thought he might have some thoughts on Georgia Auburn, a big rivalry there, but no thoughts on that game right now. And Georgia's still a big favorite. I want to say 24.5.
Now that over/under is less than the over/under for Alabama Vanderbilt. The Georgia Auburn over/under is 53.5, with Georgia a 24-point home favorite against Auburn. Now remember, Auburn played one of their best games last year against Georgia, but it was at home.
Right.
Auburn played one of their best games against Georgia. So this time, though, they're going on the road where they have not won in an eternity over there at Sanford Stadium. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
It's always good to hear Grady. Means we're halfway through the week, right?
Yep.
That's a good point.
Now, he does a good job. He's putting old Leonard Loser to his, to the test for sure. No, I don't know if he's not missed many over the last, I don't know how many years you've been doing this now. At least probably 4 years, maybe more.
No, longer than that. I think he started. I think he started it in 2nd grade. So it would have been. This would be the 5th year for it. Or no, he started it in his 1st grade. I think he started it in 1st grade. So this is a year 6.
Yeah, well, that's just great. He does a good job, and I don't know why he's not going out there, on the limb. I guess Leonard's Loser likes to go out there too far sometimes and get the head knocked off. But this week, Leonard's Loser, it's going to be interesting. So we'll get that into you. But I was just going to mention, I live only about 20 miles or so from the stadium at where Alabama will be playing. And, and here's the thing. I talked to a buddy of mine. Tickets are kind of hard to get.
That's what I've heard.
And Alabama fans, I asked the guy, and I find this hard to believe, but it may be true, that Alabama fans have purchased right at 10,000 season tickets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Okay, and then I wondered, well, if that and I've heard that before too. I didn't know what the number was. Now you can get tickets. I mean, it's surprising. I mean, they're about 180 a ticket. But for Alabama and Vanderbilt, that's a lot of money for Alabama and Vanderbilt. But I'm going to pay whatever it costs. I want to see that game there to drive just that distance. But Vanderbilt's much improved. I will say that. I'm not worried about losing the game, but I remember last time when we played there that I got a chance to go see them play. I don't know what year that was. Must have been 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago. We beat the dog out of them. We put a 50 on the board, and just made them look bad. Matter of fact, it might have been trying to think one of Alabama's backs. I'm trying to think who they put. That made it like Tua. Tua got put in late in the game. It was his first time ever. He did a little theatrical, little spin around touchdown throw, and we're already up like 40. I think Saban got onto him a little bit. I don't know if y'all remember that. It's been a while back, but
he threw it to Devontae Smith in the back of the end zone.
You remember that? That was good. But the stadium does look a lot better. I had a chance to see it. It looks better, but it's kind of like Vanderbilt. Until they really invest in that program, and I mean, they got the money to do it, they're still going to be the same old Vanderbilt. So I'll just tell you now, I think Alabama puts a 50 on them on this Saturday.
All right.
So,
Yep. All right, Mike. Thanks. Yeah. So there you go. StubHub is listing Vanderbilt and Alabama tickets. You can get them around $120. And they're good seats. You can get some up even more expensive than that if you want to, but I mean, they're selling them anywhere from 120 on up there if you want to go to the game on Saturday. They're at Commodore. What is it? Vanderbilt Stadium? I don't even know what it's called these days. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program on a Wednesday morning. Let's see here. All right. So we've talked a lot about the decision makings of quarterbacks, and especially the decision there with Peyton Thorne in the closing seconds of the game with Oklahoma. But lots of times when you're sitting at home, you question a quarterback and why did they do something? Why did they do this? How did they do this? Take a listen to Peyton Thorne breaking down what he saw in that but that throw against Oklahoma. And keep in mind, he had 2.6 seconds to make this decision. It's kind of interesting, but it's also still at the same point, why did they throw the ball? But just it's interesting to what quarterbacks have to go through.
I am sure the one play that haunts you is the 3rd and 4, the Oklahoma 43, 4:06 to go in the game. What did you see or did not see on that 3rd down?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I talked to people close to me and our coaches and some of my teammates too. And, quite honestly, if I had that play over 10 times, I probably would have done the same thing 10 times out of 10. And so, it is frustrating for me, and you look back on it, it sucks. However, I got to give credit to them. They had the perfect call on for what we were doing. It looked like 0 across the board to me. We had 5 out. We were empty. They brought 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage. They had their 2 backers mugged up in the A gaps. And so I had to do something with my protection in order to get protected, because obviously we only have 5 guys. So we had talked about sliding away from the boundary defensive end. And I did that. And then my eyes have to go to the mug backer to the boundary, because our number 2 receiver to the boundary had a choice route. He can go in or out. And so, when I'm looking at that and looking at the leverage over number 2, the man playing over him, I was thinking there's a good chance we're getting an in cut here. So I snapped the ball and I had to slide a little bit because I slid my protection and we're not blocking the boundary end. Well, I looked at, I think it was number 10 was in the boundary A gap. The backer, he took a step forward and put his hands on our guy, and so did the other backer on the snap. And so I thought they were coming. And then since I have a choice route to the boundary, I have to get my eyes on him to see if he's going in or out. I can't just keep my eyes glued in the middle of the field. And then obviously he won inside. He ran a really good route, and I put the ball, I threw it to him. And unfortunately, they executed their call really well, and they bluffed the pressure enough for me to see and think they were coming. And then when I went to find my receiver, I wasn't able to see him drop out. So, like I said, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to swallow. However, I look back on it and the play clock was running down, so I couldn't switch my three receivers to the field to get a quicker route or anything like that. So it was just an unfortunate play, and credit to them for having a good call on and executing it well.
Interesting stuff there, just on what goes through quarterbacks' minds on any play.
Well, no, they run an RPO scheme at Auburn, and they did the same thing at Ole Miss, and they pretty much that's all they run. It's choice routes and decision making by the quarterback. But I know he was basically playing percentages and thought he had the look to make the throw, but you also have to be smart. And I think in that situation, when you have a lead late, you shouldn't even if they show you a look where you think you can throw the football, you should still run the ball and get it to Jarquez Hunter and control the clock. And in that situation, there was less than 10 minutes to go in the ball game, and to me, you don't throw the football there. You run the ball, you control the clock. Jarquez was having a good game. Auburn was doing a good job and moving the football all night, and had done a good job as an offensive line controlling the line of scrimmage against a talented defensive front from Oklahoma. But to me, I know again it's based on a numbers game too in the box. But even if they show you a heavy look, I think you should still run the football in those situations. I think it's smarter. I mean, it's what Alabama tried to do for the most part when they were trying to run out the clock against Georgia. Now they did throw the ball and they had to on third down. But I just think the way that game was flowing for Auburn, and the way Hunter had run the football, especially in that fourth quarter, they seemed to be wearing Oklahoma down. And I don't think it was very sound strategy. But I don't blame Peyton Thorne. I blame Hugh Freeze. He should have been adamant with his helmet communication with that. Being able to do so until 15 seconds left on the play clock, and then he should have his communication should have been to Peyton Thorne. Well, it either needs to be you or the tailback that needs to be running the football. Now, who's to say, as Pat Dye, the late great Pat Dye used to say, hindsight's 50-50. Maybe Auburn fumbles the football running it, but I just think it's sounder strategy, and your percentages of winning the football game grow exponentially in that situation if you keep the ball on the ground.
All right, 7:16 on a Wednesday morning. Let's get our first break in. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Discovery University in Mid-City. Apparently that one's going to be hit and run. I think the other vehicle has been moved off into a parking lot. Got Research Park southbound near Old Madison Pike reported as an accident. Drake and Triana, they updated to an injury type. One in Guntersville, 431 southbound at Convict Camp Road. And we got two wrecks in Decatur around 6th and Market. One of those has got an overturned vehicle. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medical benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's the dawning of a new age in Tuscaloosa.
I understand what Alabama football is all about. Roll time.
Join the Crimson Tide as the Kalen DuBois era begins.
Touchdown!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head to Music City to throw down with the Vanderbilt Commodores. Our coverage begins at noon on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
You guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I got rice cooking in the microwave.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Wednesday morning, 7:20. And if you look at the SEC standings, Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, and Alabama will all start the weekend still perfect on the season. What are the chances one of those four go unbeaten this year?
And which four?
Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, and Alabama.
Alabama's got the best shot
of all the four.
Yep, because they're going to beat Tennessee's ass first of all, and then Texas, they got a tough schedule. They're not going to go through unscathed. They got Georgia, they got Texas A&M on the road.
Outside of Michigan, has Texas faced anybody yet?
No. So like I said, I still think Texas has a great chance to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're better than Alabama right now either. So, but again,
even if you put Quinn Ewers back at starting quarterback,
doesn't matter. So, but I do think Texas has got still a great chance to be in the playoff. Missouri, they're a fraud. So there's no way that they're not going to make the playoff either.
What makes Missouri? What has you feeling that way though? About they got Texas A&M this weekend.
So and they're going to lose this weekend. So that's another thing too. So A&M's going to take them out at home. So and A&M's kind of been under the radar. I don't think A&M's a playoff team yet, but I think they're much improved under Mike Elko and much better fundamentally than the new analyst everybody's loving on his podcast, Dirtneck. Who's making, I don't know, $15 million per word. And
Someone asked me yesterday if they think he would get a job. Like, who would take a chance on him next year?
UAB might need him.
Boy, that's gone south in a hurry.
Yep.
He's not doing himself. Trent Dilfer didn't do himself any favors this past weekend.
No, but he was even before that. They don't look well coached. They look awful. And I know they made a little bit of a run at Arkansas, but you don't get moral victories. They lost by 10, and they lost 31-6 to the guy that used to coach them. That probably should be the coach. I've always been a Dilfer fan as far as an analyst and stuff, and for what I thought he stood for, he did a great job at the Elite 11, but and at Lipscomb Academy. But Lipscomb Academy ain't UAB, so he did a great job as a high school coach, but so far. Yeah, you'd have to give him a D- at UAB. I won't quite give him an F, but it's close.
It's getting there.
And so, I don't think, I personally, I think he'll be fired by the end of the season because I'm not sure UAB is going to win maybe one more game.
I don't think UAB can afford to have it go south anymore. I mean, they need something in there to help.
Too many guys left after the first year anyway and went into the transfer portal. When you have a guy have 70 tackles and he's your second leading tackler and he was part of your Jackson Bratton, you brought him to media days and he was supposed to be a senior leader and he leaves to go home to UNA and play in his backyard after playing in a league that's that plays in the FBS. I mean, going home, I mean, I understand it. I mean, you're playing in front of your friends and your family, and you're playing a very prominent role at the University of North Alabama that's making that transition to an FCS program, and you can be a building block part of that. But when you make 70 tackles, it's not like he was playing a part-time role. He was playing a very prominent one, and I just think it doesn't reflect well. And, based on some things that I've heard too, about people that, visited that school and the way they set things up. It's way too NFL oriented. They're soft as butter. And I think, and again, the way Trent's kind of handled himself, he made reference that, this isn't Alabama. Yeah, this week in a press conference.
Because he wanted his grandson to come sit up there on the podium because there was only 2 people in the press conference. And he joked that this isn't an Alabama press conference.
Yeah.
He can come up here and sit.
And then he kind of, took a shot at somebody that came to ask him about what had happened the day before. He kind of belittled the person. I mean, we've had Trent on the show. He did a good job, but I mean, and then kind of saying, well, there's only 2 people here. Well, again, Trent, this ain't the NFL, and you are not at Alabama, but you shouldn't alienate the people that are coming there to cover your team. And he was not even paying attention to the question that was being asked of him after his team looked completely unprepared and anemic against a really good Navy team that's undefeated. They're really good, but UAB wasn't even competitive. I think, from what I understand, there's the attendance is very, very poor right now. There's no energy around the program.
That's what I'm saying. UAB can't afford to have it keep going south like it is.
I mean, Bill Clark did a great job while he was there before his health and his back situation really, set him back, and he had to take a step away.
Does he come back?
I know. From what I understand, the first thing UAB is going to do is fire the athletic director. Then they're going to have to hire an athletic director that's, worth 10 cents. And then they're going to have to go get a coach.
Right.
The entire, right now, the football program's in a bad spot. And the athletic director, I think, is clueless. So, I mean, he, and I think he mismanaged the end of the Bill Clark era, quite frankly, too. So he wasn't smart enough to keep Brian Vincent in there, who had done a nice job. They were trying to kind of find some kind of celebrity coach that would bring in players. But when the celebrity coach doesn't understand how to coach college football, and he's really had only coached on the high school level, he had not even coached in the NFL, may need to go back to the Elite 11.
All right, let's go on to the phone lines. Richard is with us. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. One thing on the Vanderbilt game I saw yesterday, it's going to be the lowest attended Alabama SEC game since 1961.
Wow.
Well, I think they've lowered their seating.
Oh, okay.
Non-COVID year now.
Oh, okay.
Because they were redoing their stadium. Because I think they didn't even have end zone seats last year.
Well, they did not last year. But so is that renovation not completed? I mean, we can ask Chris Lee here in a few minutes.
I was up there for the basketball game last year in January, but they had a long way to go in January.
Yeah, it's not quite. You watched I watched some of the Virginia Tech game. You can still see there's some construction. It looked like there was some construction still going on.
Well, I mean, it only took them 50 years.
Yeah. One thing on the Mark called in about Bama fans buying season tickets. A buddy of mine lives up there. They also have Tennessee at home, and so his goal was to go to the Bama game, maybe go to a couple of other ones, then throw his Tennessee ticket out on StubHub and make his money back.
Yeah.
So, because that was kind of his logic. Not getting, and I'm sure they're not charging a whole lot for tickets. And one thing on the StubHub, $120 I think is regular price, which StubHub's going to hit you with fees.
Yeah.
But I believe $120 is regular price even. So that's pretty good prices, out on StubHub right now.
Mm-hmm.
Considering. But like I said, it looks like it's going to be kind of low attended out. So. Maybe not by Bama fans, but I'm not sure what it seats now, but I think I saw 30,000.
Well, I mean, I know the capacity before they started renovating, I think was 44, something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just remember Clark Lee talking extensively about the renovations last year, and that they did. There was a lot of talk about it was difficult to get in and out of the stadium because of the renovations, and they were having to basically he was preaching patience and wanted the fans to continue to come out and support. I mean, I did watch some of the Virginia Tech game, and it of course, once again, it was a pro Virginia Tech crowd. It did look like a smaller crowd, but I'm not sure.
39. It's they listed at 39,790.
Okay.
For First Bank.
First
Bank Stadium. I knew it had a name, but
it's got a new. It used to be just Vanderbilt Stadium, but they've got a new sponsor, and it is First Bank Stadium. And I think even with a renovation, for you to stay at Division I, capability and not draw the ire of the NCAA, you have to have at least, I want to say, in the 30s. I want it maybe 34,000 because Duke ran into this issue, but your stadium has to be a certain size if you're going to be a Division I school. And so even with this renovation going on, I'm sure Vandy had to keep their capacity, to at least close to 40,000.
You were talking about Dirt Neck, and I'm was it John Talkin you guys had on a few weeks ago about the book he and the other fellow wrote?
We had John on Monday, and then we had Armin Katayan on a couple of weeks before that.
Okay, yeah. Basically, though, I can't remember exactly, but I mean, Dirt Neck does not look good. I'm about 3/4 through the book.
Right.
And they got a chapter on Dirt Neck in there, and but maybe
did he lie?
Sounds like maybe like Trent Dilfer. Maybe they can hang out together, but didn't have a clue what was going on at Texas A&M. But just like I said, most of the the chapters are kind of just informative, but I mean they kind of go after Dirt Neck.
Yeah.
In there, just not being very smart, just kind of riding. He got lucky on the one championship, and and A&M bought it. And then got burned again. When LSU was looking for a coach.
Yeah.
So.
No question.
Like I said, but like I said, they go after Dirt Neck pretty good in there.
Not surprised.
Right.
No, so Drew, you going up to the game Saturday or?
Yeah, I got credentials. We'll be up there covering. Back in 2017, when I had been in it a couple years, we tried to go up there and cover it, but Vanderbilt at the time was undefeated, and we all know what happened. Stupid defensive tackle said that Alabama was next, and they were fixing to slap them around. And they got beat 59-0, didn't pass midfield, and went on to crash and burn the rest of the season. So, but it was a beat down of epic proportions. And that was actually that year. Matter of fact, that was the game Mark was referring to,
right?
Where Tua got into the game in the second half and did the pirouette and did the 360 and threw the ball in the back of the end zone to Devontae Smith. So, yeah, it was.
Actually, he had several big, good plays in there, but you could also see why he gets hurt out. Because he keeps holding on to the ball. Those highlights, he's spinning around and running around and not just getting rid of the ball, but you can see why he takes hits. Where a lot of these guys, get rid of it and just, kind of live to fight another day. So,
no question.
Well, maybe I'll see you up there then.
All right, Richard. Safe travels, man.
So there is no, I think the NCAA did away with the minimum stadium size requirement. What they've gone to is a rolling 2-year period where you have to average at least 15,000 in actual or paid attendance at home football games.
Only 15?
Only 15.
Wow. Shows you how desperate they are to get people in the stands.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have been double that to stay as a relevant Division I program, not FCS. FCS, I think I've always thought it was that you had to at least have 12,000 to qualify to do that. But wow, didn't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, can't. So let's 7:32. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll go back out to the phone lines. It's Talking Ball on a Wednesday. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck on the Arsenal. Morris Road south of Neal Road. That one's reporting with injury. Research Park southbound right around Old Madison Pikes reported as an accident. Had an injury reported at Drake and Triana, and we got 2 wrecks in Decatur, 6th and Market. One of those has got an overturned vehicle. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on your heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
It's fall, y'all, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we're ready for it. Football, hunting, hiking, we've got the rides to take you there. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got over 140 F-150s for you to choose from. XLTs, Lariats, all the way up to the Platinum. And right now, you can get $4,750 total cash back on the 2024 F-150 at Woody Anderson Ford. Here in Huntsville, you see more than every day, and there's a good reason. They're the perfect size, do-it-all SUV for lots of folks. I'm talking about our Bronco Sport. From hauling kids and groceries to the spur-of-the-moment camping weekend, the Bronco Sport delivers. Choose from over 80 Bronco Sports starting at just $299 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $34.56 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 9/30/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Attention, attention, may I have the camp's attention?
Your home of the college football playoffs.
Playoffs?
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Welcome back in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN Zone, 7:36 on a Wednesday morning. Welcome back in. 256-576-4977. You can join the program. Brandon is with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
Morning. Tell Bandy to message me the title of that bumper music y'all came in. I was trying to use that coming out of the timeout during our game yesterday and could not remember what the name of it was. I'm trying to build up the list of music there.
Right.
When I was listening to Peyton Thorne talk, and he was just spitting that out like a chainsaw, that's what my mind does when my wife says we need to talk or text me question marks. So I know how he feels.
I just thought it was interesting just because of quarterback lingo, just kind of what all quarterbacks kind of go through when they walk up to the line of scrimmage and then when they snap the ball in 2.6 seconds, what is going through their minds sometimes when they have to make a play.
What went through my mind is Auburn was poorly coached.
I can't say that I disagree with that, and I also can't say don't hope that it continues. Next Saturday will be the halfway point of the season. Can you believe that?
Goes by quick.
It is so stupid fast.
Yep.
How it goes by. And I wanted to say something. I got a friend that's got a kid. I say a kid, he's almost 19 years old. ETSU. Did y'all see what happened to them during that flood last week?
Did not.
No, it did not.
I know that area was highly affected, though, of Tennessee and those parts of Tennessee and North Carolina.
So they take off having absolutely no idea what's going on with 100-person travel party. They leave out about 10:30 on Friday. They can't get on I-40 because it's completely destroyed and gone. There's no cell phone reception. They can't get updates from people. Even the state trooper with them was completely disconnected. They ended up in Fletcher, North Carolina, Spartanburg, trying to get to South Carolina. All the roads are closed. Water's rising everywhere. It's coming up to the bottom of the door on the bus. They end up going in a grocery store. My understanding is water started rising in there up to about knee deep. They were just grabbing food off the shelves. They end up sleeping on their buses with water up about halfway on the tires in places. And around 5 a.m., some Waffle House employees in another stop where they moved to started bringing them food. And they eventually, Coach Lamb got them out of there. Could you imagine what that's like?
No.
Got 100 kids, nowhere to eat, nowhere to go. Every road you try to go down is closed. You can't get in touch with anybody. Even the cops are blacked out and lost. They managed to get them out of there and get them to safety. So I just like to say hats off to Lamb and whoever that state trooper was for taking care of those kids and keeping them calm and keeping everybody collected, because that situation could have really gone wrong. And
No doubt.
That's when leadership matters. A little blessing of God too. But that's crazy to think that they were out there in that and survived it and managed to feed 100 kids and get them to where they were going.
So they actually did play their game?
I believe so. They did actually end up playing their game. I think the game time had to be moved.
Wow.
But
they were going to the Citadel. They were
Citadel
going
in South
to
Carolina,
the Citadel, and they were stranded on they were stranded on 3 team buses Friday night. They left Johnston City, Tennessee for their game at 10:30 a.m. on Friday.
Right.
And they got there a little bit before their Saturday, and this is Eastern time. So they got there a little bit before their Saturday's 5 p.m. game against the Citadel.
I mean, could you imagine leaving out and not even really knowing and driving into that mess?
Yeah, they had no service for 12 hours, no communication with anybody. They couldn't get to their wives, the AD. They couldn't get to anybody for 12 hours. They had no communications for 12 hours.
So you're the head of the school athletic director, and you've got coaches and 100 kids missing for 12 hours. I wonder what your life was like for them 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. The grocery store that you referenced, they were allowed to make the team to take 100 pre-made sandwiches. They were mostly tuna and chicken salad sandwiches back to the bus, as well as 15 loaves of bread and 15 jars of peanut butter free of charge.
Yeah, talk about feed to 5,000, so to say.
Yeah, and they slept that night on a team bus. And if you've ever been on one of those charter buses, you had all those football players sleeping on the team bus.
So hats off to them for making it happen and for the people keeping those people safe. Because I can honestly say, I don't know in my lifetime that anybody's ever been through anything like that and went into it unknowingly. So, Coach Lamb, his dad coached up here at Calhoun just above me. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for getting the job done when it mattered, because I can't imagine what them kids were thinking when they're driving down through there and bridges knocked out, interstate's gone, water rising everywhere, going into Waffle Houses and grocery stores trying to figure out how to, how hard it'd be to feed 100 kids just extemporaneously.
Yeah.
Just try to figure it out of nowhere. Nuts. Completely and totally nuts.
Yeah, because you're totally off schedule by that point, and you don't know what you're going to be, as far as or at least what the availability is of what restaurants will be open. If you can get to a grocery store, or if you're going to have access to food.
Well, the quarterback's coach and another coach, they left the bus and they walked to find a hotel or a gas station so they could use the restroom.
Right.
They encountered a guy driving an electric car. They hitchhiked to a hotel where they found cell phone service, and they were able to call their families and everybody else and kind of update them as to what they were going on. They finally made it to their hotel. That's where Waffle House delivered food to the hotel so that the guys could get some sleep.
Mhm.
And then they found out the game was moved from 2 to 5 p.m. So the game was originally supposed to start at 2, and they pushed it to 5.
Well, good for
Yeah,
Citadel to do that.
Yeah. They actually then they beat the Citadel 34-17. So through all that, they get a win.
Yeah, Citadel still stinks, obviously.
You would have thought they would have at least maybe moved the game to like 9 p.m. or the next day or done something like that. I'm glad they moved it, but I know somebody personally that their kid was on that bus,
right,
and was missing for a long period of time, and it was just pandemonium in that family, not knowing what was going on because so many people up there missing and gone.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear the interview with Lamb when that comes out about what that time period was like during that.
Mm-hmm.
So, roll Tide, glad everybody's safe.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so
Thank you.
there's your story on East Tennessee State. 7:45. Let's get a break in, shall we? When we come back, Major League Baseball conversation, some more college football conversation, all that and more. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Our last reported accident was on the Arsenal Morris Road south of Neal Road. That one's an injury type. Research Park southbound near Old Madison Pike reported as a no injury, but apparently it's causing some big traffic problems. Drake and Triana had an injury involved, had an overturned vehicle in Decatur at 6th and Market. There may actually have been 2 wrecks there. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative, located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville. Their brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, their diverse menu has something to please every palate. And with a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, they invite you to savor the unique flavor of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer again. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is extremely proud to have recently received numerous awards, including being voted best wings in the state of Alabama. Other awards received include Best All-Around Restaurant, Best American Restaurant, #1 Sports Bar, Best Chef, Best Wings, and Best Dining Experience. Thank you for 43 legendary years, and we look forward to providing you an award-winning dining experience at every visit. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Hey, Huntsville. Looking for action-packed events? The Huntsville Sports Commission is your hub for all things sports. From youth events to national tournaments, we've got events that thrill and inspire. Whether you're an athlete, a fan, or a volunteer, there's something for everyone. Cheer on your favorite teams, witness amazing talent, and be a part of the excitement. Check out our event calendar and get involved at huntsvillesports.com. That's huntsvillesports.com. Be there, Huntsville.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And the Atlanta Braves were facing an uphill challenge last night. Game 1 of the National League Wild Card Series, facing an uphill battle. They were against the San Diego Padres. The Padres get Fernando Tatis Jr. back, his first postseason game in a Padres uniform. And he comes out, hits an early home run. Michael King, who was never a full-time starter in New York, He has become a game one ace, so to speak. Last night, 12 strikeouts across 7 innings. Atlanta Braves fall to the Padres last night, game one of their wild card series, 4-0.
No shock. I mean, they just didn't have their pitching lined up the way they wanted, and Chris Sale's not even a part of the roster, so they're in a must-win situation with free agent to be Max Fried. We'll see if this is the last game he pitches for the Atlanta Braves, because I don't expect him to be back. It's going to be a really huge challenge tonight for the Braves to, get up off the mat. They ended up, Bill Shanks is on with us yesterday and said it would be one of two people, either A.J. Smith Schaffner, or it was going to be Ian Anderson. Schaffner had pitched in the postseason last year, but only pitched in one game with the Braves this season before last night.
Right.
He had been injured, missed quite a bit of time, and didn't last long. I mean, only pitched into the second inning, gave up 4 hits.
1 1/3 innings.
Yeah, he pitched into the second inning and gave up 3 of the 4 runs, on 4 hits, and dug a hole. But the Braves offense did not show up either, and was shut down. And so certainly Money Mike, Michael Harris had a nice ball game, had two of their knocks, but he was the only one in the lineup to get 2 hits. And the Braves didn't threaten that much against San Diego, who does have their pitching set up. So this whole thing, and they get all 3 games potentially. I mean, if they win tonight, the series is over, but all 3 of the games will be in San Diego. So the Braves, their pitching is in stronger shape now, but Max Fried is going to have to, pitch like he did down the stretch. He certainly, when he nearly threw a complete game against the Royals, got the win in that game, and they're going to need a similar effort tonight, and they're going to need to swing the bats better to keep their season alive here in this wild card series against San Diego.
San Diego's going to counter with Joe Musgrove today on the mound. Other Major League Baseball from yesterday.
All the other underdogs won.
All the road teams won yesterday. Tigers over the Astros 3-1. Royals over the Orioles 1-0. And the Mets go to Milwaukee and get an 8-4 win over the Brewers.
Yeah. So the Braves were the only underdog, so to speak, because all the favorites are at home in these first round series. So but everybody's right. It is a pretty wide open postseason, but hopefully the Braves can get it done today.
Yeah. The caveat to all that is the Tigers and the Royals, they all had a full day of rest before they took on the Mets, and the Braves were the 2 teams that literally just almost felt like a regular season style of a game where you finish your series, and then you're instantly in another town playing another series right away. I mean, that's the difference between there. So
another 7:30 Central Time first pitch for the Braves, another night game.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program this morning. ESPN putting out, and this is no shock, this is why ESPN paid $1 billion for the Southeastern Conference. The Alabama-Georgia game on Saturday peaked at 14.1 million viewers, and it averaged 12 million viewers for the primetime game. It's the most watched regular season primetime game on any network since 2017. The Auburn-Oklahoma game was the top afternoon game. It peaked at 6.9 million viewers, and the Kentucky-Ole Miss game was the top noon game. It peaked at 6.5 million viewers. So that is a huge viewing weekend for college football.
Especially when half the Ole Miss fans had their head in the toilet.
Man. You know what? They got to go to South Carolina this week.
Yeah.
It didn't look good the last time they went to South Carolina. They'd not played there since 2009. And that's the day Steve Spurrier and company beat Ole Miss 16-10 at the time. It was South Carolina's first ever home win versus a top 5 team back in 2009.
Remember that season? Ole Miss was picked by some to be better than Alabama.
Well, Ole Miss is a 9.5-point favorite on the road Saturday.
That, of course, that Alabama Ole Miss game was played in Oxford, and Alabama won 22-3, and physically dominated Ole Miss. Ole Miss went on to have a pretty good year, but they were not a top 5 team. There was a but it ended up being matter of fact, the late Jevin Sneed was a high profile transfer that year from Texas to Ole Miss, and was a good player, but never became a future NFL guy. He was never an Eli Manning type, but again, Ole Miss, and they had Dexter McCluster, still had some guys left over from the Ogeron era that were really good football players. And as we know, Houston Nutt had come over from Arkansas and put together a pretty good roster, but they lost a very physical game to the University of Alabama.
If South Carolina has Lenoris Sellers under center, can they threaten Ole Miss in this one this week?
If they do, some people need to be fired at Ole Miss with all that talent.
Time to start heavily drinking.
I mean, I just with all the NIL money that's been invested, and and South Carolina has been a pleasant surprise. They've played pretty decent football under Shane Beamer. They did win at Kentucky very, very impressively, and then should have beaten LSU, no doubt about it. So it's definitely a dangerous game for Ole Miss on the road. But for as talented as Ole Miss is alleged to be, if they lose, it's completely on the coaching staff.
And Lane Kiffin to Florida, I think, kind of starts to dissipate.
Would you hire him?
No, I mean, I wouldn't hire him anyway. I mean, even if no, because his track record is not great.
You're already losing. Why would you hire somebody else that can't handle expectations?
Right.
So
if they lose this game, I mean, you would go from being what some people thought a contender to get to Atlanta, a contender at the beginning of in SEC media days. A lot of people thought Ole Miss was an outside team that could get to possibly Atlanta because of their schedule. And if you fall to South Carolina, you're all of a sudden 4-2 and 0-2 in SEC play right out of the gate. And your schedule, I mean, albeit you could recover, but you put yourself in a ginormous hole because you still have LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, and Mississippi State left on the horizon. Winnable ball games late, but you still have a stretch there of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Georgia, and LSU.
Ole Miss loses this game, they're losing 4 or 5.
Kids just give up.
I mean, they won't give up, but there'll be a ton of opt-outs because they're going to be playing some podunk bowl. So they better. They're still alive, very much so, because of their schedule and who they play, to impress the committee and go to the college football playoff. And they better hope Kentucky keeps winning too. I mean, if Kentucky can turn their season around and have a 9-3, 8-4 type year, then that will definitely help Ole Miss. But again, they've got to win this game or their season's going to go in the tank. There's no question in my mind, because you got a bunch of mercenaries on that team that are, I think, more worried about the NFL than they are winning football games.
Maybe Quinshon Judkins saw something there.
Well, no, Quinshon Judkins saw dollar signs, and that's why he left. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me. I mean, they're just he had a good 2-year run there, but he wanted to be paid to breathe, and so he went to Ohio State. So, that's why they in Ohio State spent a ton of money, and so far they've had good return on their investment. We'll see if they can continue to do it, but Ole Miss, just fraud.
Chris Lee's going to join us on the flip side. Alabama traveling to Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia, he was fired up the other day talking about this one, saying that, they've had a week off from that Missouri loss and that they're going to come out ready to play on Saturday. Just how ready will the Commodores be? Chris Lee will help us out.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Baseball wild card action on Tuesday. The Tigers beat the Astros 3-1 to go up 1-0 in the best of three. The Royals shut out the Orioles 1-0. The Mets got by the Brewers 8-4, and the Padres beat the Braves 4-0. Game 2 across the league today. The plus 145 Tigers sent Tyler Holton to the hill against Hunter Brown. Seth Lugo starts for the Royals. Kansas City plus 135. Zach Eflin gets the nod for the Orioles. The Brewers and Mets each minus 110. Sean Manaea starts for New York. Frankie Montas for Milwaukee. Plus 105 Atlanta sends Max Fried to the mound against Joe Musgrove and the Padres. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome in and welcome back. Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. I'm happy to say the good folks at SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we had a good visit yesterday over there at Sports Center, Dr. Jensen and myself, and we handled the knee well. We're okay. We're good.
At SportsMed.
Just put a shot in it of cortisone and steroid right into the knee. And but we're good. We're good to go, and we're going to be back at it here this afternoon. So, but anyway, good. Thank you to the kind doctors over there at SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. As we mentioned, Alabama traveling to the Music City to take on Vanderbilt this weekend. This is, and we've said from the beginning after their Virginia Tech win that this isn't your typical Vanderbilt team, and you don't even have them at the bottom of your SEC rankings.
Nope.
But
they've been a very solid football team.
Yes.
This is, I mean, they probably should have beaten Missouri. They played very well there. Very disappointing loss to Georgia State, especially considering that they came back, they got a lead late and lost it, with under a minute to go in the football game. But they showed a lot of resiliency the next week at Missouri. They were a substantial underdog. They were, I thought they were 12 yards away from winning the game. I really thought they had a good shot to do it. But some play calling I thought was a little bit, dicey down the stretch of that game. But I thought they played very, very well. And they certainly are a much improved football team in the SEC. They're going to take on Alabama on Saturday afternoon in Nashville. Alabama's a significant favorite due to what happened last weekend. But Diego Pavia, we've already talked about. He probably should be the quarterback at Auburn. But kudos to Clark Lee for going to get Jerry Kill and Diego and improving his team exponentially, because they're I think they're much better than they were a year ago and much more competitive. And we're going to talk about that and more with our next guest, who does a great job publishing BandySports.com, which is part of the Rivals Network. Also, the ever-burgeoning YouTube channel, Southeastern 16 now, with the growth of the SEC. And that is Chris Lee, and he's been kind enough to join us from the Music City. Chris, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
And would that be an apt description that Vandy is a much improved team? And I did feel like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I know Missouri missed 3 field goals and whatnot, but I really thought that Vanderbilt had a golden opportunity to pull that upset.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And, they are probably, I look at predictive models, they're probably this team, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 points better than last year's team, and probably closer to the high end of that.
Yeah.
But as I said before the season, they had fallen so far behind the rest of the league and, frankly, most of the Power Five, that in order to be a little bit better, they had to be a lot better. And I think you've seen some of that play out both ways. You saw them beat Virginia Tech on opening day in a game that surprised me. You saw them take Missouri to double overtime in a game that I think surprised everybody. But at the same time, you also saw them lose to Georgia State. That was a bad loss. That was away. And I think the fact that the program continues, they've now scheduled 4 games in a row in 4 years, I think, at group of 5 opponents. I don't know who does that. But in any case, they lost that one. And that's kind of the flip side of the coin. They are a lot better, but there's still a team that on the right day can lose to Georgia State. And, if they just had that one back, the season looks a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. And then, still, though, you look at it, and Alabama's coming to town on Saturday. Alabama comes in with a hard-fought physical contest against Georgia. But still, even despite that Georgia State loss, Vanderbilt fans still have to have. Is there more glimmer of a hope this time around with Alabama coming to town?
Well, last time we thought that it ended up being 59-0 or whatever it was. That was, and of course, I think that Alabama team was probably better defensively than this team, and so there's that. But the point is, there's still a 24.5-point underdog to Alabama for a reason. I think the last time they were here, in the Nephi Lealo game, they were, 17.5-point underdogs. So that game was a lot closer than you saw what happened. I just think that, and we'll find out Saturday, I still think there's a caliber of athlete across the ball that they haven't run into yet that I'm just not sure they can handle. And I'm not sure who can handle Ryan Williams and Jalen Milroe right now, but I think that's the challenge is, they played some good teams close, but the best team they played so far is Missouri. And I think if you put Missouri and Alabama on a neutral field right now, Alabama's probably a 12, 13, 14-point favorite. And so I think it's just a different class of a team they're going to run into Saturday. And I worry about their ability to handle Alabama's athleticism.
Yeah, and then but with Diego, I think they can definitely move the football. Alabama has had some issues. They certainly did in week 2 against South Florida with mobile quarterbacks, and he's scrappy. There's no doubt about it. And they've been able to run the football pretty well. I know they've got some a multifaceted backfield there. The passing game, though, how is what would you? I would assume that the strength of this offense has still got to be Diego's mobility and the running backs. But how has the passing game progressed so far in your mind for Vanderbilt? Because they're going to have to be balanced to have a shot to against Alabama in the fourth quarter.
It's the closest thing you'll come to playing a service academy in this league, Drew.
That's a good comparison. Yeah.
And it's not all the way there. Some of these, Army and Navy, sometimes they might throw the ball 3, 4, 5, 6 times a game, where Vanderbilt is more like 15 to 20. But I think, and look, they're not as good at running the ball, I think, as some of the service academies are. I just don't think they've got the top-end talent at running back that you need in this league. Now, they got some quality players in Cedric Alexander and A.J. Newberry, but it's not Dylan Sampson or Justice Haynes or some of those guys. And so I think they do the best they can with what they have. The thing that makes the pass work for them in a lot of ways, one, it's not coming as often, so you're not expecting it. And I mean, I say that, but Diego Pavia has done such a good job with accuracy and getting the ball exactly where it needs to be. I've seen him make so many throws this year where it's like, that's a tough throw, but you put it just where either your receiver gets it or nobody gets it. And they've completed that kind of throw a lot more times than I thought they would have, to be honest, after what I saw in practice. And I think going back to that, I think part of it is Diego Pavia is one of those guys that when you turn the lights on Saturday, it just is different than it looks in practice. He's one of those guys that plays better than he practices. But I think that's part of it, that, you know, they're going to run the ball probably 70% of the time. And so when they throw it, you've got two things working for you. You've got the element of surprise and the fact that he's been really good with the ball. You guys probably know this, but they've only turned the ball over once in 4 games. That was a fumble where he got hit on the backside where his right tackle didn't do a real good job, I think, of helping him. But that's who they are, and it's a narrow path to victory. But they have made, you know, they played in 3 really close games so far, and then you had that blowout of the team in Auckland State that they just overmatched.
Yeah, Diego Pavia is where I was going to go next. Anyway, I mean, he has been electric. He's really kind of brought a new energy to that offense. But what kind of problems though can he create for that Alabama defense?
Well, you know, he's not going to be the most athletic quarterback on the field, and that's going to be Jalen Milroe.
Right.
And, you know, he doesn't have a super strong arm. He's not the fastest guy, but you look up and the stats are pretty good. I mean, I was looking in Pro Football Focus last week. He was the second-rated quarterback in the league for whatever that was worth after the Missouri game. I don't know where the standings have shifted since then. And I think Milroe was number 1. I could be wrong, but I think he was 1, or maybe it was Jackson Dart. I'm not sure. But, you know, he's not Mike Vick out there, but what he is he's kind of like, you know, the point guard that you watch that, like, he's running the fast break and you're thinking he could do A, B, or C, and then he pulls out D and nobody's expecting it. And next thing you know, you got a guy hanging from the rim when he's flipped the pass behind his back. That's kind of what he is. His decision-making and his ability to see stuff on the fly is really special. And that's, I think, a lot of how they beat Auburn last year. His capability, like, I don't think you're safe for him for most any down and distance. I mean, it can be 3rd and 9. You can have everybody covered downfield, and he steps up and finds an escape route, and he gets 11 for a first down. I just think that his ability to see the field and make decisions on the fly, and I don't think that's something you can really practice for. When, you know, you can scout team that all day, but trying to do a brain transplant with that guy and what he thinks and what he sees and the split-second decisions, I think that's the stuff that makes him special.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he is a special guy, and you know, he just has these intangibles, and he gets guys to believe. Now, you've told us with Will Shepherd and some of these guys that there was you know, some addition by subtraction, and quite frankly, London Humphreys has not had the impact that Georgia people anticipated. He's been injured, but how has this receiver core kind of developed around him for the, you know, where they could challenge Alabama? Because one of the perceived weaknesses of the Crimson Tide, and they did have 3 interceptions on Saturday night, including the game sealing one by Zabian Brown, is that this Alabama secondary is young and can be exploited. Who matchup wise for you, Chris? If Vanderbilt's going to make a run in this game at receiver or, you know, tight end, who's a weapon in your mind that might give Alabama some problems?
It's been a better group than I thought. I thought they were really weak there, and it's not it's still
right.
Not even a league average group, but they've made the most of it. Quincy Skinner's had a nice year. He's made some of the biggest plays they've had all year. Again, has made some really nice body control touchdowns, tight roping the sideline on tough balls to catch. So he's one to watch. Stowers is the kid to watch. The tight end.
He transferred from. Was he the one that transferred from New Mexico State?
Yeah. And there's some familiarity there. He caught 11 balls against Georgia State. He's thrown a touchdown this year.
Right.
He's a really versatile player, and there's a comfort level there. Now they've got some guys too that have not done as much as I thought. I think the junior Sherrill, who played for Trent Dilfer at Lipscomb Academy a couple years back, is a really nice piece. I know. A really nice piece at slot receiver. Who probably hasn't put up the numbers I thought, but he's a good player. And they've got another tight end. He's caught one ball this year and went for a touchdown, but he's been hurt. They've got a kid named Cole Spence, who's a 6'7" tight end who can really run. And I think if he ever can get healthy, which has been a problem since he's been on campus, I thought he was debatably their best player in fall camp. And if you'd said, he's caught one ball to this point, I would have been shocked. But they have some – it's not what Alabama's got, but they do have some guys that can do some things that have helped them to some wins.
I know we'll get more into the game here itself, but Drew is making the trip up there on Saturday. Any tips or advice for him getting in and out of there?
First time I'll be in the press box there, Chris.
Oh, get there early. I'm going to do that. I'm a little fearful that the parking lot they've got us in next to the stadium could get filled up in a hurry and we'll have no place to go.
Right.
If that's the case, I'm not even sure where I will park. I haven't had to do that in a long time.
Yeah.
Getting into the stadium, if and by the way, give me a call and I'll help you out. It's not as bad as you would think. But you got to know how to get in. It's a very different look than what you've seen in the past, but there are fences and construction dust everywhere. And it's, I would advise anybody going to the game, you want to get there, maybe you don't want to go in an hour early, but I would certainly get there an hour or two early to make sure you got a spot to park and can navigate the construction maze to get in on time.
And that's for fans as well, too. Get there, because I know we got a lot of people here that are listening this morning that are going to be making that drive up to Nashville.
Yeah, and I mean, my potential travel partner, he's already called into the show, and we'll see, how that works. And he's already trying to plan out the Saturday and everything. We would definitely get there early. And I would think so, because I wanted to ask you, because you talked about it extensively with us a year ago, and we saw all the construction and everything. And there was even Clark Lee. It was a big part of his, his preview of his football team a year ago going into year two was be patient. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of energy, a lot of renovation. Where does it stand? How much longer until the process is completed?
Well, they were supposed to have finished the building that's it used to be the open end zone with the bleachers.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be finished. Last I was there a couple of weeks ago, they still had some stuff to do on the outside. The seatable portion was done, where they've got kind of like an outdoor patio. The indoor practice gym for basketball was supposed to be done in, I think, August. As far as I know, that's still not done, and we're in October now. But the building is going to look nice, I think, when they're finished with it. The other side, they're starting to fill in the construction gaps quickly. That's where we're going to have the football-only building. That's not going to be ready in time for the end of this season, but it's supposed to be ready for the start of next season. The practice facility, the indoor practice facility, the new one, they haven't even broken ground on that yet. They're going to do some stuff to the baseball stadium they haven't broken ground on. But I think, in terms of travel tips, because I think people will want to know this too. If you're familiar with the parking garages, and I'm not sure, there's one that's right next to the stadium, right next to that new end zone building. It's kind of catty corner from that, right next to it's kind of wedged right in between the edge of Memorial Gym and the outside edge of the football stadium. If you park in that garage, you go off the bottom, and there's a little bit of a guided walkway to get in that way. If you park in the garage that is adjacent to the right field foul pole of the baseball stadium, if you're not familiar with Vanderbilt's athletics facilities, literally the baseball, football, and basketball venues are right there next to each other.
They are.
Literally throw a rock from any one to the other and hit the other one with no problem. So if you park in the garage at catty corner to the right field foul pole, there's a guided walkway that takes you through down what used to be Jess Neely Drive, which is the street that runs between the back of the football stadium and McGugin Center, which is an athletic building on the other side. That's all closed off, but there is a walkway that you can get from here to there. If you come in from the other side near the hospital lot, that's kind of across the street from the practice field, there's also a guided walkway there. And if you come in from the other end from Centennial Park, I'm not sure exactly what your best route to get in from there is. You might want to walk around the basketball arena, the parking garage next to the basketball arena and get in that way. I'm not sure, but just a little tip for the people who are driving, and depending on what direction you're coming from, you can get there, but it's not the direct route that you're used to if you've been there before.
That's great. That's good.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, for our listeners, that's that's as detailed as you're going to get. I know you mentioned Alabama as athleticism may give Vanderbilt a lot of problems. What's the formula in your mind? Because I'll freely admit I thought Missouri would handle them and win the game by double figures, and Vanderbilt should have won the game. So they obviously played off their feet and had a chance to win it. What would be the scenario for the Commodores to have a chance to beat Alabama?
They matched up well with certain things that Missouri did. Missouri throws a lot of screens and stuff like that.
Right.
And they're pretty good about staying in their lanes and keeping discipline. And so, I think if Alabama tries that, which I don't think is, as big a part of what they do as Missouri, I think that's something they can defend. Although, if Ryan Williams is involved, good luck under any circumstance. But I think that the two problems I see, Missouri ran for, Noel ran for $1.99 against them last time, and they really gashed some holes in their front.
Right.
I think that's a problem. I think that with Justice Haynes and those guys, you're probably going to see them break a big run or two, and they will have the edge in the trenches there to nobody's surprise. I think that's one area they can give them problems. And I think downfield passing has really hurt them at times. They have gotten burned by a long ball downfield at least once in 3 of their 4 games. Alcorn State wasn't able to challenge them, but I think that, you just got so many men you got to commit. You got to keep an eye on Milroe. You got to keep an eye on Williams. They got a lot of weapons there. And I think that the one-on-one way downfield is very problematic. I think Alabama will score probably a good number of points. I think for Vandy, what you want to do, I think Clark Lee said, I'd like to keep this a 10-possession game or under. I think he's dead on. If you can, by chance, pull off 6, 7, 8-minute drives and do that multiple times, and against Alabama, you're probably going to need to end those in touchdowns. But if you can make it a lower possession game, like if there's a scenario where we say we're going into the fourth quarter and it's a double-digit game or it's a single-digit lead for one team or the other, I think that'll be the scenario. It'll be that Vanderbilt held on to the ball a long time. It didn't turn it over. Maybe it created a turnover to itself. It is a very narrow path to keeping it close. But you have seen them pull it off a couple of times this year against teams in which they were double-digit underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, and so I think they're a dangerous team. And with Alabama, this is still a new coaching staff, and now it's the next, question: can they handle success? And we saw the rat traps, that's been used on Monday, kind of sending the players a message. Nick Saban's teams tended to do this and handle themselves well. We'll see, certainly, if the University of Alabama can. Now, my good friend, and he's a true pro, Matt Moscona, he's continuing to double, triple, and quadruple down. He's still saying that Alabama has deficiencies and that Ryan Williams had to save Kalen DeBoer's ass in his opinion on Saturday. I've got news for Matt. I love the guy, but Kalen DeBoer's already better than Brian Kelly, and Alabama's coming to burn their house down.
Well, I've said this, I think, on your show before. Kalen DeBoer actually has a better winning percentage as a Division I head coach than Nick Saban. And now I'm not saying he's a better coach than Nick Saban, but that bar is incredibly high.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired the one guy who could clear it on that metric. I think he's really good. You could say Ryan Williams bailed him out, but okay, how many situations did Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson bail Brian Kelly out a few years ago? You know, your team is your team, and Ryan Williams is part of what makes him special. It's not the dominating defenses we've seen before, and I get that. But you look across the league, man, I'm not sure that many teams have got that. I mean, Alabama just put up 41 points and 8.5 yards of play on Georgia, of all people.
Yeah.
I know Tennessee's put up some really impressive defensive stats, but Tennessee's not played a good offense yet. Let's see what happens when they get there. I mean, I think this is an era of parity in college football. I don't think we're going back to the days where, you know, Alabama was just crushing everything in its path, and Georgia did it after that. And, you know, you know, where you look up and you're like in the middle of October, and the question is, you know, are we taking Alabama the field to win it all, or Georgia the field to win it all? And now that conversation is more like, who knows, 6, 7, maybe 8 or 9 teams. It's just a different universe than everybody's used to.
No question. Well, Chris, we always appreciate it. Great insight, not just about the Vanderbilt Commodores football team, but what to expect on Saturday, travel-wise, and with the facilities. No one knows it better. Let everybody know how to follow you and what you guys are doing at VandySports.com and also Southeastern 16.
Yeah, VandySports.com is where you go for our Vanderbilt coverage. I've run that site for 21 years. We've got a podcast. We've got a YouTube channel. So check that out. Southeastern 14 is a YouTube channel I run, and probably I'm doing more work over there than I am on Vandy Sports. And I always tell people, if you're looking for coverage of your team, you know, you're going to find at least a half dozen people that cover Alabama or Auburn better than we will. If you're looking at how does everybody stack up to everybody else, we put in a lot of time and effort on that. So if you're looking for the big picture in the SEC across football, basketball, and baseball, go to YouTube, search Southeastern 16. I think you'll love what we do.
Thank you, sir.
Chris.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get that break in. I was just thinking about driving into Vanderbilt. I've been there a couple times, and it's just confusing.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they have cleared the problem on I-65 northbound at Upper River Road. They had a partial blockage there of the right lane, but it's all clear now. We've got all the lanes back open. We had Morris Road south of Neal Road on the Arsenal. That one reported with an injury. Still may be trying to clear it. It looks like everything else, though, has been cleared out of the way now. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
All right, welcome back. Wow, is it 27?
Doesn't seem like it.
Time gotta wait.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that was a short break. Well, yeah, I think it kind of ran long because, I mean, look, we had to get the 411. Nobody knows, better than him what all the construction is, how you get in the stadium, how you get out of the stadium. We're talking about, Vandy being improved, which they have. And the other thing we really didn't talk about is Vandy had 2 weeks to prepare for this game because they got their bye week. Yeah, so they're getting 2 weeks to prepare.
That's
so.
the thing with Alabama, though. I mean, it's not an Alabama. This is not an Alabama thing. This is any college football team thing. You play a hard game, and you play a hard game like a Georgia game, and your body is hurting because that was at times that was a physical ball game. I mean, there was a lot of hits and it was a physical ball game. Now you're turning around and you're going on the road and having to face a team that is improved.
Yeah.
But still, though, you think you should be able to win this ball game. For Alabama, they got off to a fantastic start against Georgia.
Right.
You need to get off to a fantastic start against Vanderbilt. You can't get off to a slow, lethargic start to try to get that body going after having a hard game against Georgia. You've got to come out and get off to a fast start against Vanderbilt, just because, I mean, this Vanderbilt team, the longer you let them hang around, the more confidence, the more dangerous they can get. Well,
it is anybody that you allow to hang around. But I mean, the thing about when you're thinking about this Alabama team, they have started fast the last 2 games. Kalen DeBoer made mention of that. And so they probably need to do that again. And as Chris Lee pointed out, Alabama is the more athletic team. And if Alabama does attack Vanderbilt vertically and challenge them, I think they could, cause some problems. And Grady the Greek was on this morning. He picked Alabama to win 48-10, I believe, was the pick. And he picked Jam Miller to have a big game and be MVP. And he picked Jalen Milroe, I believe, last week. So he's been kind of spot on. So he's expecting Alabama's explosiveness and big play capability, especially as a team that can run the football, to give Vanderbilt a lot of problems.
Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia, when asked about Saturday's game, says the only person that knows who's going to win on Saturday is God.
Huh. Well, I was told in one of the longest nights of my life, in November of 2013, that God was an Auburn fan, and it certainly seemed like it that day. But it's we'll see. Certainly that's why you play the games. Vanderbilt, I never would have thought would have had a chance against Missouri, but Missouri allowed them to hang around. Missouri made mistakes in the kicking game. Missouri was a little sloppy. Vanderbilt controlled the pace of the game and was able to stay in it and got it to double overtime and was maybe just a play or two away from winning it. So no question that they're a dangerous team. They look much different than a year ago. They've got the Jerry Kill factor. But the one thing, if at least from a coaching staff perspective, we'll see what the Alabama's players, how they approach it. But certainly Nick Sheridan, listening to his press conference, Kane Womack and Kellen DeBoer, they all spoke to the media on Monday. They have great respect for Clark Lee and that defensive coaching staff. And Clark Lee, don't forget, at one time was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame for Brian Kelly. They had some really good stop units and were very, very good. So he's a great defensive mind, and then now has Jerry Kill, basically running his offense, and along with Tim Beck, and they've done a really good job.
All right, I tell you what, let's get a break in here right now. When we come back, we will crown our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Their head coach will join us coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck going out in Limestone County now. New Cut Road east of Townsend Ford Road. That one does report with injury. And they had one on the Arsenal Morris Road south of Neal Road that reported with injury. Should be about ready to clear on it. Need help for a temp project or maybe finding a new employee? Snelling can help. They also do background checks, computer assessments, and payroll. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You want to get into some football?
The college football playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
And the national championship game all play right here.
Let's talk football.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our team of the week.
Get it in here. I got one thing to say.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Indeed it is. Time for our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation. And we had a chance to visit with our Team of the Week on Friday as they got a big win.
Shutout.
Against a rival Madison County. And, of course, if we are talking about that, that means we are highlighting the Ardmore Tigers as our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
Yeah, it's an awesome week that they had, and now they get a bye to continue to heal up and get ready. And we talked about how quickly these seasons go by. They're already 4-2. They're doing a great job under fourth-year head coach Jonathan Snyder, and he's been kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline as our great friends Bryant Bank, who have as much of a passion for high school athletics as we do, are going to donate $500 to the Ardmore Tigers as they're coming off of a shutout win, a 23-0 home win over the Madison County Tigers. And now the next goal is going to be to make that playoff run. That would be the second one under Coach Snyder. And, of course, they'd like to advance. And this senior class is doing some special things this year. And we wanted to talk to Coach Snyder about that now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
And Coach, I know we have fall break in Madison County this week. Are you guys on fall break as well? How is it setting up for Ardmore?
No, we're not on fall break this week. We've got this week, the rest of this week, and next week, and then our fall break begins.
Gotcha.
I guess it's October the 14th, whatever that week is.
Yeah, there you go. And
well, it gives you time since you may not be on fall break, but you're on the bye week this week.
Yeah, there you go.
You get to kind of put the feet
That's
up,
right.
and you get to kind of think about the 23-0 win over Madison County, a win that saw you guys get a win over the Tigers for the first time since 2006. Now, you don't play every year, but it's the first win since 2006 over Madison County.
You know, it's a really, really big win for our program, to continue taking steps forward and reaching our goals, for the year, for this senior class, for this group of men that we have in the locker room. It was a big win for us. And I know Ardmore and Madison County used to be in the same area, same region for many years. And that's where a lot of the play started. And I didn't realize until Friday night it had been that long. I know we don't play every year, but that's a big accomplishment for these guys to beating a team that had, I think it was a 3-11 record against us where we'd only won 3. And, to get that win on a night like we had with the driving rainstorm, the wind, everything going on, really, really proud of our kids for really batting down the hatches and not allowing outside elements to affect, what we do and how we do it.
Well, and I heard you talking on Friday. You guys had tried to prepare for it, but you'd a couple of weeks before you'd also had to deal with some weather situations.
You're right. Yeah, we played Fairview 2 weeks ago, and the wind was not the factor; it was the rain. So our kids had a little bit of experience. Now, of course, we didn't come out on top that night, but I think having that experience and understanding that, hey, it's wet for everybody. We're not, it's not just raining on our sideline or not just raining when we've got the ball. It's raining for everybody. And so we just got to take it, things that we can't control. We got to understand that and control what we can and figure out the best way we can do it as a staff to put our kids in the best position possible to be successful. And our kids answer the bell.
Well, Coach, who's kind of been the leaders on the field for you kind of driving this train so far this season?
Well, we have 12 seniors on this football team, and we start 7 of them on defense. And
there you go.
Led by Dawson Pearson, Devlin Jarrett, Dominic Murphy. We've had some kids, Ty Clark, defensive lineman, some kids really step up on the defensive side of the ball. Where we're really senior laden, and a lot of those guys have played a lot of football in their past. So we got a lot of experience on that side of the ball. We returned a total of 17 starters from last year. Our whole offensive line was back except for one kid. Our entire backfield are sophomores. We've got a lot of leadership on both sides of the ball, and to point out one or two would probably do an injustice for all of them, because they all take ownership in their role on this football team, and great leadership in the locker room. Really from everybody, no internal problems. So really, everybody is taking a role and taking ownership within that to make this season as special as possible.
Yeah, and no doubt 5A Region 7. Let me correct myself. It's kind of developed in an interesting way because you've got a couple teams in Fairview and Russellville that have started to separate themselves, but everybody else, it's pretty wide open for those third and fourth playoff slots. And I know you want to get to the postseason for the second time during your tenure at Ardmore. You got a bye week this week, but then that game is huge coming up with Lawrence County coming up next Friday.
Absolutely, it is. And the Russellville and Fairview, they've sort of set themselves up to be in a little bit of a league of their own. Now, I felt like that we competed really, really well against them this time for the first time since I've been at Ardmore. We came out with positives. It wasn't just a dejecting, hey, loss, if you know what I mean. And
right.
We're going into these we got 3 more region games after the bye week, that's really, of course, going to determine, whether or not we make the playoffs. And, we feel like that we've got a good football team, but we also know that Lawrence County, East Limestone, West Point, those schools, we're all very comparable. And, we really feel like that that we're going to have to be at the top of our game. We can't just show up. And, we feel like we can go toe-to-toe with whomever that we face, but we've got to be well prepared and understand that, if we make a mistake, teams can, capitalize on that. And, we got to make sure that we're well prepared moving into these last 3 region games.
Yeah, and it's dealing now with expectations.
That's
4-2 start has put Ardmore in the conversation that, hey, if you can have success in these last games, that there's more games awaiting being the postseason.
Right. And that was one thing 4 years ago when we got here. One thing that I really wanted to change was the expectation. Like, it was, hey, let's just play hard. Hey, let's have a decent season. Everything will take care of itself. And that's fine. And I that, you really don't have the pressure, I guess, but let's get a little bit of pressure. Let's create a higher expectation, not just to have a decent year. Like, let's make the playoffs. Let's host a playoff game. Let's win a playoff game, whatever it is. Like, let's raise the expectations in our program. And that's something that our kids have taken ownership in. Our first year, we made the playoffs for the first time since 2013. The last 2 years have not been great. We've been, and that's completely on my shoulders. But our kids have taken ownership in trying to be a little different than what we have been, and have changed the way we've done some things. And they really accepted the role of, hey, we've got a chance to be special. What can we do to make us special, and how hard can we work? And hats off to our kids and our staff for getting us to this point. Now we just got to finish the race.
Well, I mean, talk about you talked about your how much experience you had returning 17 starters, 7 on defense, and those are seniors that are very, very experienced, and they certainly played well in that shutout against the Madison County Tigers. But how has your team offensively developed, and how did you feel like they played last week?
Well, I feel like that we have really turned the corner offensively. I mean, we're even in the 2 games that we lost, we had 3 or 4 drives that stalled out or had a turnover inside the 30-yard line going in the score. And those are things that we've got to get corrected. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that offensively we have made huge strides to where we want to be. We're at Ardmore. We understand that we've got to be able to run the football in order for us to be successful. We're not going to stand back and throw it 25, 30 times a game and expect us to win a football game. And so, we have to play complementary football, and our offense last week was really, really good at, defensively we were playing well. They were not moving the ball. And offensively, it was one of those deals where let's just do what we can to not give them any advantage, and push the ball in, across the goal line when we can, but don't do anything crazy. Don't turn the ball over, that kind of stuff, in order to win the game. So we're very offensively and defensively, we've been very complimentary of each other. Offensively, we got 2 sophomore running backs that are really good. Our offensive line, like I said, 4 of the 5 starters are back. Our quarterback's a sophomore who's getting better each and every game. We've got some experience at receiver. And we played without 2 of our best receivers last week. They were out, which we didn't throw it much, didn't need to. But, it's one of those things, we're starting to get back healthy, and hopefully by October the 11th, we play out Orange County, that will be as full strength as what we can be.
Well, Coach, you talk about that expectations. You talk about where you want to be. You talk about getting healthy. The one thing we can tell you this week is that you are the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. As Drew mentioned, Bryant Bank will be out there. We'll hand you guys $500 for your program, for your hard work so far this season.
Well, that's awesome, man. We really appreciate it. Hats off. I can't give enough credit to our coaching staff and our players for really, putting their nose down, going to work to try to fix this thing. So, hats off to them. Hats off to our community for continuing to support us. This is an awesome deal for us. Ardmore doesn't get this type of recognition a lot, so we really, really appreciate the opportunity to represent Bryant Bank in 97.7 The Zone, being the team of the week.
Well, we appreciate it, Coach. No doubt about it. And continued success. This is going to be a really big 4-game stretch for these kids coming off of this bye week. Have you changed anything up in practice? How I know you're not on fall break. Certainly school's still in, but how have you handled the bye?
Well, really we've got some guys that are a little bit banged up, but one thing that I learned from Coach Gross at Athens is that, you know, you want to back off of them a little bit. You don't want to put too much on them, you know, trying to get ready for your next opponent. But then again, if you've got momentum, you don't really want to do stuff that's going to lose that momentum. So we've still tried to be physical in practice. We focused a lot on ourselves, not an opponent. We focused a lot on our younger kids, trying to get, you know, continue to develop them. This week, I'm going to give them a couple of days off at the end of the week to just recoup. I told them to get away from football for a few days, because come Monday, it's game week again, and it's the biggest 3 or 4 game stretch of your life. And we've got to get, you know, we got to get mentally and physically ready for that stretch.
Well, congratulations, Coach. We appreciate you for joining us and talking some Ardmore Tiger football. Congratulations. Bryant Bank Team of the Week, the Ardmore Tigers, 23-0 winners last week at home against the Madison County Tigers. And the great thing is 3 of these last 4 games, I think, are at home for you, Coach.
Yes, sir. That's big. So we need to, if anybody from Ardmore's listening this morning, we need huge crowds rolling into Cooper Field the last 3 of the 4 weeks.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Let's get that final break in. Ardmore Tigers, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. We'll get it in with your tomorrow's headlines next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got an injury rate reported in Limestone County, New Cut Road, east of Townsend Ford Road. That's our only working accident. Everything else appears to have been cleared now. You be careful as you make the last of that dash in this morning. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Down the stretch we go. Week 6 of our high school football streaming network continues. A full slate includes Buckhorn taking on Fort Payne over the airways of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Over on Talk Radio, WZZN, it'll be Huntsville at Austin. Zone 2 features Madison Academy taking on North Jackson. Zone 3 has Randolph visiting Grant taking on DAR. Zone 4 has Sparkman playing host to Bob Jones.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
For tomorrow's headlines today.
And congrats again to the Ardmore Tigers. I know that community is very close knit, and
Yeah, they are.
they'll be very excited to be Bryant Bank Team of the Week, and got a bye week to enjoy it, and then as you heard, Coach Schneider there, it's a huge 4-game stretch starting with Lawrence County at home a week from Friday.
Yeah, you get a bye week on a Friday.
Well, they've had a grind. I mean, they started in week 0. They played 6 weeks in a row, and so already going. I mean, we talked about how quick the season goes by. You're already 4-2, but you are in 5A Region 7. You're 1-2. So right now, the 2 teams that feel the best about it is Russellville, certainly in Fairview.
Oh yeah.
And they
those
look like they've locked it up.
Those 2 have been the class of that region for the last couple years.
Right.
Fairview and Russellville. Every time they play, that game comes down to who basically is going to win the region or be number 2.
And Ardmore already has a big win over Priceville too. So if they can beat Lawrence County, and because Lawrence County is also a 4-2 football team, the winner of this game has a very, very good shot to be the 3 seed. And even the losers even still got a shot to be the 4, but you got to feel really, really strong about your playoff chances if you can get this W.
Busy week of high school football coming up your way down our alley as well. Buckhorn, speaking of bye week, they were off last week. Now they're going to have their hands full. They got to jot down the road to Fort Payne.
Chris Elmore.
Yeah, that's
good football team.
That's a tough ball game.
Got another kicker making 50-yarders. They grow them. I don't know.
They do.
I don't know, man. Or something.
Lord, they can kick the ball down there in Fort Payne.
Alabama can write a lot of songs. Group Alabama, they're country music Hall of Famers. They're legends, but it just seems like they grow kickers over at Fort Payne.
They got one in the NFL now, and they got another one. I mean, if
Auburn sure as hell hopes he gets healthy quick.
Yeah, apparently Hugh Freeze said the other day that his strength is coming back.
Yeah,
not 100% there, and that's one of the reasons why they didn't see him on Saturday. I think a lot of people questioned why they didn't bring him in, but his strength's not back. Masson Academy is going to be taking on North Jackson.
That's a huge game.
It is. And then Randolph's got DAR. And then Sparkman has Bob Jones.
That's a big game in 7A region,
which is a big one
that's
there
a huge
as well.
One. Huntsville coming off of that loss to Sparkman and now traveling to arguably right now the best team in 7A Region 4, and
they're the undefeated team.
Yeah,
in 7A.
Jeremy
Region
Perkins,
4.
very consistent Austin Black Bears.
They got a 20-0 win at Austin on the road at Florence.
Yeah, shutout victory.
Bad weather. Yeah, scoreless first half there. And
it was
Brawley Stadium, and then Austin scored 20 in the second half to pull away for that win. All right, we'll talk more high school football tomorrow. We'll talk more on Friday as well. We'll keep slipping it in along the way. Good conversation. One thing we didn't get to was Mike Gundy today. He said some interesting things about college football, and he even threw Nick Saban's hat in the ring for a particular job. But we'll explain it all tomorrow. It's a good thing, actually. We'll talk about that and more tomorrow on Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.